Have you ever felt a strange sense of satisfaction when being alone in a quiet room? In a world that never stops screaming for attention, some choose silence. There is a profound beauty in stepping back from the noise. Why do some people find fullness in the very solitude that most others seem to fear today? Beyond the constant chatter of the metropolis, there lies a hidden rhythm. Today, we will explore the symphony of silence, where the deepest souls find their strength. Why do those who think the most often say the least? It is not about a lack of words, but about the quality of the inner world. Solitude is often misunderstood as loneliness, but for many, it is a sanctuary. It is a space where the soul can finally breathe without any external pressure. In this quietude, the mind stops reacting and starts reflecting. This is the beginning of a journey into why the most profound people choose to stay silent. They are not hiding from the world, they are engaging with it on a much deeper level. Silence is their way of processing the complexities of human existence. When the external noise fades away, the internal dialogue becomes clearer. This clarity is a rare gift in an era defined by constant digital and social distractions. Just as nature thrives in its quiet cycles, the human spirit needs intervals of silence to regenerate. It is where the most creative ideas are often born. The choice to speak less is a deliberate act of self-preservation. It is about protecting the energy required to build something meaningful within one's own mind. Let us dive into the science and philosophy of this silence. Discover why the quietest people in the room often hold the most significant internal power. Neuroscience reveals a fascinating distinction between different types of people. Deep thinkers often have a lower threshold for external noise. Their brains are already busy processing a wealth of internal data, ideas, and abstract concepts constantly. For these individuals, a single observation can trigger a cascade of thoughts. They do not need the constant dopamine hits of social media or idle gossip. This is the difference between extrinsic and intrinsic stimulation. While the world seeks excitement outside, the deep soul finds it within the architecture of their mind. Understanding this balance is key to recognizing why silence is not a void. It is a rich, fertile ground where the most complex neural connections form. When we stop talking, we divert our energy from speech production to deep observation. This allows us to process the subtle layers of the reality around us. Deep thinkers often find more excitement in a single sentence of a book than in a loud party. Their internal stimulation is enough to sustain them. By choosing silence, they avoid the dopamine loop of shallow interactions. This allows their brain to rest and focus on long-term goals and profound insights instead. In nature, they find a frequency that matches their internal state. The absence of human noise allows their thoughts to expand and breathe in new ways. The mind of a quiet person is like a finely tuned machine. It processes information with depth and precision, rather than rushing to provide immediate, shallow answers. They observe the details that others miss in the rush of conversation. This heightened awareness is a direct result of their commitment to active, purposeful silence. Silence provides the buffer needed for critical thinking. Without the need to fill the air with sound, the mind can explore every angle of a problem. Many of history's greatest inventions and ideas were born in the theater of silence. It is the birthplace of genius and the forge of deep wisdom. When we speak less, we preserve the mental energy required for these breakthroughs. We become curators of our own thoughts rather than just broadcasters of noise. This scientific reality explains why the most profound people don't find silence boring. To them, it is the most stimulating environment they could ever inhabit. Stoic philosophers and Eastern masters have long regarded silence as a form of mastery. It is not a lack of opinion, but a supreme control over words. Active silence is a choice to wait for the right moment. It is the understanding that once a word is spoken, it can never be retrieved. In philosophy, silence is the vessel of meaning. A deep soul understands that words are finite, while the truth they attempt to describe is often infinite. The Stoics believe that we should only speak when our words are better than the silence they replace. This creates a life of intention and weight. When you speak less, each word carries the weight of a stone thrown into a still lake. It creates ripples of influence that actually matter to people. This strength comes from the ability to listen to the universe. By being quiet, we align ourselves with the natural flow of life rather than fighting it. There is a cosmic dimension to silence. It humbles us and reminds us that our voices are small, yet our capacity to understand is vast and deep. Patience is the twin of silence. The philosopher knows that rushing to answer is a sign of insecurity, while waiting reveals a spirit that is secure. They find beauty in the ma, the Japanese concept of the space between things. In music, it is the pause that makes the melody truly beautiful. A deep soul treats their words like rare jewels. They are not to be spent cheaply on every passing thought or trivial disagreement in daily life. Shared silence is one of the highest forms of communication. It signifies a level of comfort and understanding that no amount of talking could ever achieve. The craftsman knows that silence is where the work happens. It is the environment of creation, where the ego disappears and the art takes over completely. Ultimately, the philosophy of silence is the philosophy of being. It is about existing fully in the present moment without the need to label it. There is a beautiful paradox here. The person who speaks the least is often the one who understands the most about the situation and others. When we choose silence, we open up a space for the other person to truly exist. Listening is perhaps the greatest gift we can ever give. Deep empathy does not come from offering quick advice or clever rebuttals. It comes from the ability to hold someone else's story in your own stillness. A silent listener acts like a vast landscape, capable of absorbing the storms of others without being shaken. They provide a safe harbor for heavy hearts. Some things are too deep for words. An empathetic soul knows when a simple presence and a shared silence are more powerful than any spoken sentence. They hear the things that are not said, the sighs, the hesitations, and the unspoken pains. Silence allows them to tune into a higher frequency of connection. By not rushing to speak, they avoid projecting their own ego onto the other person's experience. They allow the truth of the moment to emerge naturally. This type of listening is an act of love. It requires putting aside one's own desire to be heard in order to let someone else heal. The deep soul mirrors the world back to itself. Their silence is a reflection that helps others see their own thoughts and feelings more clearly. In relationships, silence can be a bridge rather than a wall. It is the sign of a bond that has transcended the need for constant validation. They choose silence to hear the heartbeat of the world. It is through this deep listening that they gain the wisdom that others often miss. True connection is found in the pauses. The deepest souls are masters of these pauses, using them to weave a web of understanding around those they love. When you stop talking, you start healing. You start connecting on a level that words can only dream of reaching. That is the power of empathy. In a busy meeting or a crowded party, the person who remains the most silent often possesses the greatest power of observation and quiet internal authority. Their stillness is a form of internal strength. Like a lighthouse in a storm, they do not need to move or shout to be effective. They do not waste energy trying to prove their worth to others. Their confidence is quiet, an inner fire that doesn't need to roar to be warm. Silence in social settings is a tactical advantage. It allows one to gather information, analyze dynamics, and speak only when the impact will be greatest. They select their words as an artist selects colors. Every sentence is a deliberate choice, intended to create a specific meaning rather than just fill space. This is the bravery of stillness. It takes courage to be the only one not talking in a room full of people desperate to be heard. They have mastered their internal world. External chaos cannot penetrate their shell of silence, for they are anchored in a deep sense of self-knowing. By choosing not to react immediately, they maintain control. Silence is their shield against the impulsiveness that often leads to regret in social interactions. This silence is a form of leadership. People are naturally drawn to the calmest person in the room when things get difficult or confusing for everyone. It is the power of the observer. By speaking less, they see the whole picture. Allow them to act with a level of wisdom and efficiency. They carry their silence with them like a precious treasure. It is the foundation of their dignity and the source of their most authentic actions in life. Do not worry if you feel like you don't belong in loud, crowded parties. Do not blame yourself if you prefer the quiet of your own mind. The ability to be alone and enjoy your own company is not a social flaw. It is a profound gift that few people truly ever manage to develop. Your internal world is a garden that needs silence to grow. Cherish the moments where you don't have to say anything at all to be happy. In the symphony of life, the pauses are just as important as the notes. They give the melody its shape, its depth, and its emotional resonance. The deepest souls know that their value isn't measured by how much they talk, but by the depth of their character and the kindness of their actions. By embracing silence, you are choosing to live a life of quality over quantity. You are choosing to be present in your own existence every day. These are the moments where life truly happens. In the quiet, we find the answers we were searching for in the midst of the loud world. Silence is the language of the soul. It is how we speak to ourselves and how we understand the deepest mysteries of our own human hearts. Never apologize for your need for space. It is within that space that you are building the strength to face the world with grace and wisdom. Thank you for joining us in this exploration of the quiet. May you find the peace you seek within the symphony of your own beautiful silence. Keep nurturing your inner world. It is the most valuable thing you will ever own. Let your silence be your greatest and most profound statement. The world will always be loud, but your soul can always be quiet. Until next time, listen to the silence and find your true power.